Now let's go to the exact opposite end. Tony Johnston.
Tony Johnston, the Birdman of Sky Sports. Tony Johnston he's got his own clips now, and
yes.
It's called the Bushwhacking
Yes.
Trail, I think it is. And it's infinitely better than any of his commentary.
He's brilliant when it comes to animals.
Fantastic.
Not so good with humans.
No, not so good with him. Never has got on with humans. But 849 different species, I think he said, you have in South Africa, and I believe him. But he has talked about 848 of them, I can tell you that. But as a commentator, much to learn. Much to learn.
David Faherty.
David Faherty, a one-off. Great on-course commentator, David Faherty. Things that happen in front of him, lightning quick mind, and a humour to go with it. Unquestionably best on the golf course.
And then, of course, we've got South Africa's favourite, Hachi.
Hachi, well, I mean, there's not many commentators that have had the telegram from the Queen. Still playing golf. I believe the senior tees now are at the back of the greens, so he can actually get round in 100. Hachi is, to me, he's Mr. Golf. Hachi loves the game. His love has never wavered for golf as a player, as a coach, and a brilliant coach at that. And just a wonderful man to be alongside. I was with him earlier this year here in South Africa, and it was a great privilege to be sitting alongside him.
You talk about being a great coach. You're a terrific coach, and of course one person that's used you a lot is Darren Clark.
I had 6 years with Darren, culminating in, thankfully, the major that we all thought he was good enough to win, but hadn't. His short game, I didn't think was good enough. He was a poor short iron player, a very poor full wedge player, which is most unusual in the game today. They're nearly all very efficient from 125, 130 yards and in. So we worked pretty hard on that going into that Open. Back right pins was things he could never attack because everything came in with right to left spin. And he managed to get the hang of that and used it to great effect. I enjoyed the 6 years. It was tough. We had a lot of arguments. There was not just a cup of coffee and let's go and smack a few balls down. I mean, there was a few arguments here and there. None more so than the Ryder Cup at the K Club. And he had lost Heather, his wife, just 4 weeks before. And that was a tremendously difficult time. And I had just started coaching him 2-3 months before that. And he rang me up when I was at Medina for the PGA and said that Woosnam had given him a wild card if he wanted it. And do you think you could get my game in shape for that Ryder Cup? And I never had any problems about getting his game in shape, but I had big problems and reservations of how he would cope when all the other players were at the functions with their partners or their wives, and Darren would have been on his own. So that was a difficult time, and the year or two after that wasn't easy either. 2 young children, single parent. So more than his coach, I look back and think I was his mate. I was one he could shout at if things weren't going well, and I was one he could have a laugh with if he felt like it. And it developed more as a relationship between 2 chaps rather than a coach and a player.
Let's stick with that on that subject. Tiger Woods. If you could spend some time with Tiger Woods, what would you be trying to get him to do?
Well, I'd get him away from pretty much everything he has now. Yes. I look at 2000. Everyone looks at 2000 because they saw a game that they'd never seen played this way before. They saw a fellow who was quite straight off the tee as well as long. Mercurial touch around the greens, great imagination, heart of steel, you know. I would change his address position today. I would change pretty much everything. When I see 3 years on from working with the same coach, he's still working on drills. We're talking about arguably the greatest player to have ever played this game. And he's out there trying to slice the ball where the whole world's population, golfing population, are trying not to slice the ball.
A lot of people have suggested that a good move for Tiger would be to go back to Butch.
I don't think that will happen. I think they had a serious fallout, and I've asked Butch, and he said none of your business, and I've never asked him again. Woods is very much his own person in his own bubble, very much like Faldo was throughout his career. That his world revolves around him and his inner circle, which is a very small one. But I look at Tiger at 38 years of age now, who should be enjoying the greatest time of a golden career, and he's not. It may well be that 18 years is enough. I look at Arnold Palmer, 7 years, he won his majors. I look at Faldo. Faldo was, what, 8, 9 years? Seve, pretty much the same. And here's Woods, 18 years on from joining the PGA Tour, winning all the events, 79 events or whatever it is he's won, the 14 majors, the 18 World Golf Championships. Maybe he's just run out of petrol. Maybe he's run out of steam. Maybe the injuries that are more prevalent now have come through an intensive physical regime, maybe too intensive. And all of these things are happening now at a time when he's just at the end. He may surprise everyone. He may come back, and once he wins another major championship, he may win another one straight after it. But the way things are right now, body-wise, mentally, swing-wise, it's not the Woods we knew from the time he turned pro.
Changing tack. Did you ever think that you'd be coming to South Africa for 7 or 8 co-sanctioned events with the European Tour, that you'd be coming to South Africa when you have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players, South African players, that are genuinely world-class players? Did you think that would happen?
If you look at the history of golf in South Africa and the players that they've managed to produce, they've managed to produce that because the Sunshine Tour has always been a strong tour. It's been a tour that supported all the players, the companies that have supported the events down the years, the Gary players, the Bobby Locks. There's a lot more. John Fury, there's John Bland in that area. Then you have the Retief and Ernie, you have Oosthuizen, you have Charles, you have Coetzee now coming through, a great talent there, at a great age, Brandon Grace as well. So you've produced players for the last half century and beyond, and you will continue to do that because of the support that the Sunshine Tour gives the players. The introduction of the European Tour down here in co-sanctioned events with the Sunshine Tour is a great boost, not just for Europe. You know, the last 5 years in Europe haven't been great financially. The last 5 years in the world haven't been great financially. But here you still have sponsors willing to put money in there, put tournaments in there. You bring strong players in Europe. Young South Africans can now measure themselves against the quality they're playing against, which is better than perhaps down the years. Certainly stronger, much stronger in depth. And you're going to continue to produce a lot of players. So it doesn't surprise me that I'm down so often because of the European Tour's involvement, but also the quality of the young players that you are producing today, and not just 2 or 3 of them. There's a dozen in there that could quite easily go over to the European Tour and make their living quite comfortably there.
We've had, as you said, we've had a number of players that have been, at times, perhaps the best golfer in the world. Bobby Locke was, Gary Player was, Nick Price, Ernie Els. Who's going to be next? Who do you think is this going to be the standout South African young player that's out there now?
Technically, Oosthuizen is, I think, the best player in the world today. I don't think there's a better swing than Oosthuizen. I don't think there's a calmer temperament. There are times when I want to stick a pin in him and just lift him up a little bit. He's almost too calm. And you can be too calm. You need a bit of fire in there. He's been troubled with injuries since his Open Championship win in 2010. But I think if Oosthuizen really wants it, if he really wants to be the world's best player, he can be it. He's got the lot, and still young enough.
You've got a few great friends in South Africa that you come out and visit, and one I know you used to play junior golf with, and he used to beat you like a drum as a kid. But we don't want to bring that up anymore. The other, of course, is Mike de Villiers.
Well, I enjoy coming down to South Africa and playing on 1 or 2 of the courses. I've a lot of favourites, like everyone has, in every country. I think the River Club, to me, is one of the top 10 courses in the world today. I think the last 5 holes at the River Club collectively and maybe the best 5 finishing holes in golf. So going there I enjoy. Royal Johannesburg and Kensington, where I've been often with yourself and Hutchie. The country club at Johannesburg, and Modderfontein, which is when we come to Mike de Villiers. And you know, you talked about coaching earlier. Mike de Villiers is probably the best short game coach that this country has. He's like a Dave Peltz, like Dave Peltz in the United States is recognised as a great short game coach. De Villiers is up there. If I had a young son or daughter who played golf now and I wanted to get them to sharpen up the short game, I would send them to Modderfontein and de Villiers. De Villiers is a good player, sometimes a bit wild off the tee, but tremendous short game.
Because you have to have had a good short game to be a good short game coach.
I think that's the same with everything. I mean, you look at some coaches today who weren't golfers.
Yes.
I think it's very difficult to teach a golfer unless you've gone through the same pain. Like you've missed a cut on Friday evening. Like you've struggled to, you know, to make a check on a Sunday. I think you need to experience that as well as winning to be able to teach. And you're right, de Villiers, certainly one of the great putters. And
you know that Mike de Villiers is going to get you for this.
Well, he has got me before, Mike. It was very bad.
I want to finish off with a memory that I have of playing with you in the 1974 or something like that, under 25 Coca-Cola Championship.
Yes, I remember it well. It was Worthing, which strangely enough is very close to where I live now. It's about 6-7 miles from where I live. But yeah, I do remember that. And you were leading, as you were most of the time then. That was the middle of your dominant period. And I remember a drive at the 18th, it was a par 5, and he topped his second. He was trying to keep it down in the wind, and he topped it. And we're walking down the fairway, and I remember saying to you, "You topped that?" And you said, "Yeah, I topped it, 274 yards."